Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum everyone. Good afternoon. How is everyone feeling? Thank you for joining our discussion about this very important topic. Okay, so I think I will share the slides into our WhatsApp group and maybe you guys can see. Okay, so the introduction, I will introduce the issue. So everyone, so today we're diving into the pretty intense topic, where can you guess what the topic that we're going to discuss today is?
Based on the slide, it's about nuclear.
Yes, it's about nuclear proliferation. And specifically, what we are going to talk about is about how North Korea and, how its quest is to build nuclear weapons, how we see them in the internet and in social media. So now, just to break it down, nuclear proliferation is basically when more countries starts to make nuclear weapons, and North Korea, which pulled out of the NPT, which is the treaty that if you see on the second slide, back in 2003, the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons has been making headlines for its nuclear ambitions, and it's making a lot of people like us, is in Malaysia, very nervous. So, what do you think about that, Amar?
I think it is a big problem towards our society and our global especially. And I think UNICEF, UNESCO and all the global union need to take part in this. Okay, so the big problem here is that North Korea isn't exactly playing by the rules that has been made. They've been developing and testing all this sort of nuclear weapons despite the world saying, hey, stop it. So this defiance is a huge issue because it sets a dangerous environment to our global, right? Yes, it makes other countries think if they can do it, why we can do it? And then bam, looking at the world, we're with more nukes, more countries that have nuclear weapons, which is definitely not what we wanted, right?
Yes.
Plus the sanction we have thrown at them. They don't seem to care much about the sanction, right?
Really?
Yeah. It's like they're saying, well, we'll do what we want. And that's not a good, and it's pretty scary attitude toward the global environment, right? So what do you think about the impact of it?
Okay, exactly. I think this fight against nuclear armaments is not as black and white as we make it out to be. Let's talk about who this, not just the nuclear weapon itself, but also the fight against nuclear weapon affects. For one, it affects the North Korean people because, as we all know, the North Korean people already lives in a very dismal situation. They're all starving, they're all in poverty, and now that their government are facing economic sanctions, their resources are going to be further siphoned towards the government itself so they can maintain their stance. So now the situation for the North Korean people are even worse than ever before.
I agree,
And then there are also the neighbors for the North Koreans, the Japanese and the South Koreans. As we all know, North Korea is a very menacing military force in that area. So both of the aforementioned countries need to maintain a strong military in order to be ready to face this nation that can just blow them up whenever they want, right? So the Japanese are known for their strong naval power. The South Koreans are known for their mandatory conscriptions of their teenage boys. So that's all just more resources that could have been used for human development being siphoned to the military. And these two countries need to maintain very strong relationship with USA so they don't get blown up. So those are the hidden costs of this war against nuclear weapons. Yes, nuclear weapon is bad, but we must also remember the price that other people have to pay for this peace that we want to achieve. I think that's all for me. I want to speak about the costs that come from.
Iki would like to add.
I will talk about the strategies that can be considered from these countries. We have to understand that North Korea, they do not have any good diplomatic relationship with the neighboring countries. So what we can do is that we have to keep on talking because we do not have this major power to change these things. So what we can do is by keep on talking and ask South Korea and Japan, because they are living right next to North Korea, to keep on talking how are we going to denuclearize this country, because they need to have some serious conversation over this issue. And we also need to keep the economic pressure up with some sanctions, all right? And even though the North Korea is pushing through, these sanctions are still a crucial tool to make them think twice about their actions. Now, Ilham, do you have anything to add for this topic?
I think that along with diplomacy and sanction, we've got to offer some carrots along the stick, which is mean that giving North Korea security assurance if they agree to stop their nuclear program. For example, basically we are saying that, hey, if you back down, we got your back. It's a tough sell, but it might just work, right? So not only that, regional cooperation is another big one, which is like country like China, Russia need to step up and help keep North Korea in check, so that they don't do anything weird or something. And finally, we need the UN, which is the United Nations, and other international bodies to keep an eye on things that, and make sure everyone is sticking to any agreement that we sign or we reach. So I think like that lah kot. I think like that.
It's okay, your quotes fit.
Okay, so I believe that most of our members today have mentioned a lot of very, very crucial point in order for us to think a lot about what's happening about nuclear in North Korea. But I think I love to mention that we need to agree that the only problem of North Korea is not only on their nuclear ambitions, it's also about their global concern, which their actions actually challenge international peace and could encourage other nations to pursue nuclear weapons. So I believe that when we talk about North Korea, I couldn't say that there's so many countries like that, but I believe that one day it's possible that these other countries will love to pursue the nuclear weapons. So I believe that in order for us to stop this pursue nuclear weapons, which is definitely we don't want, we need to increase the risk of conflicts and destabilize the region and beyond, like how mentioned in the slide just now. So that's why I think a combined approach is very crucial. Maybe like just what brother Arif said just now, we need to keep talking about it. And also, it's not only one country need to start this movement. All the country needs to be together in order to stop this movement. Like how brother Ilham said just now, where each country need to always back up each other. When one country went into, another country need to back up behind them. So that's why a combined approach is very crucial. Diplomatic talks, economic sanctions, and security guarantees can push North Korea towards denuclearization. Okay, so regional cooperation, especially from China and Russia, like you mentioned just now, along with international oversight, ensures everyone stays on track. So this is a very, very big movement actually. Not only one country should provide their word and everything. So the road to a nuclear-free Korean peninsula won't be easy, as we mentioned just now, but it is very, very necessary. So by working together, we can move closer to a world where the threat of nuclear conflict is reduced and making it safer for everyone. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Before we end, I think it's important for us all to actually realize that sometimes I understand why North Korea, they want to rely on nuclear weapons because of the power, because of the hatred that, the backlash that they are facing because of how they are running the country. But we need to look on the reality side of things, like what Alif mentioned regarding the money, the funding that should go to the country, but is actually focusing on nuclear weapons, and it puts them like 10-20 years back of the development. And I feel sorry sometimes for the citizens of North Korea. Yeah, they're not even using social media. That's one thing, and I think we can see a lot of time where they even fake their own countries winning World Cup. So it's just, the news itself is sad, and to think that the funding goes to the nuclear weapons just to have that, the people in power to say that yes, we have power, is actually saddening. And again, we as a group, we really share the vision of where we hope that the denuclearization will happen, and it should happen. So I think with that, it concludes our discussion for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. It's a fruitful discussion, and it's nice that we all share the same vision of wanting North Korea to denuclearize. So thank you.
Okay, everyone.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.